Hi, I'm Dave Dinkel, and I'm here today with Arthur Tomasi. When did you start in the mentoring program? How many months ago?
Um, December. So
December, okay, so...
4 months, 3.5 months.
Well, it's 3 months and a couple of days. It's okay. Who's counting? The point is, Arthur came by to get a tune-up. Every once in a while we talk about what's not working for you and what else can you do and stuff like that. So we spent the last hour doing that. But Arthur has completed one deal and another one that's closing in a couple of days. I wanted to talk about him briefly about kind of what to expect. So your first deal that closed was a short sale.
Yes.
And you made an offer that was ridiculously low, and they countered with a very high offer.
Well, they declined it. They didn't even counter it first.
Okay. I mean, it's a ridiculous offer. Why should they even bother? However, it wasn't over, was it?
No. I ended up coming back 2 weeks later. Just went up $2,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was it listed for?
$310.
Okay. And what did you offer?
$245 was my first offer.
Ridiculous offer. Or you guys are listening and saying to yourself, it can't work. Okay, so you went up from 245 when they came back to you to 247.
I went up to 247 2 weeks later after they denied it. I just followed up and just after calling the agent, and then I just came up 2,000 2 weeks later. And about a week later, they called me back and accepted it.
Now, why do you think? Just because they didn't have another buyer, they wouldn't come to you if they had a buyer. So you put it under contract. How much of an inspection period did you get?
I got the full 15 days.
Okay, good. In short sales, very typically we get our full 15 days is what we ask for, because they don't really care. The bank's the one that's in charge because they have to reduce the loan amount and so on, but they don't care about 15 days. Now, the key though is the 15 days has to start when you get the approval from the lender. You got the approval from the lender, so it virtually started pretty much as soon as you signed the contract.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, we were able to sell it. How long did it take us to sell it? A few days?
It was towards the end of the inspection period.
So it took a little longer than we'd love to have it happen,
yeah.
but we sold it nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the smoke cleared, when all was said and done, you wound up making $8,800 as a profit on the deal,
Yeah.
which is not a giant. And Arthur said to me, "This is hard work." And you said it to me. It's not that hard work, but it's okay. It's a place to start. You got into the routine of how to do it. You understand that just because they tell you something doesn't mean that that's the truth.
Yes.
It's in their best interest, and it's not always that way. There's a lot of great realtors, but they got to make a commission, and they're salespeople, and they will tell you what they need to sometimes to close it. But let's go on to your second one. The second one was an REO?
Yes.
Okay. So for you people that say, gee, I'd rather buy them at the auction, I don't want an REO, here's a good example of an REO. So did you see that listed? And no, you didn't see it listed. Okay.
No. I made an offer on another property. I was following up a few days, the day after, on that property. I asked the agent, I ended up finding out it was a 55 plus, which I didn't want to, really.
55 plus community. In most of the cases, you can live in the community and be over 55. I did it backwards. You can own the property, be any age, and an entity can own it. However, if you're going to live in the community, you have to be over age 55, long and short of the story.
So I really wasn't interested in that property, but I did ask him if he had any other properties that need a cash buyer, and he said, well, I do. I had something that's fallen out of contract, and gave me the address to that property. I looked it up and made an offer on that.
So what was he looking at, 469?
Yeah, 469.
Okay, and you offered?
My first offer was around 380, somewhere around there.
Now, if you look at the comps in the community, what were they?
They were 540, 550.
And they were pretty strong comps, fairly small community. It was
Yeah.
guarded and gated,
Yeah.
which is typically a flag for us because if we're going to show it as a wholesale deal, it's difficult to get people in there. However, you happen to have a partner that's a realtor.
Yes.
And we've done an exorcism for her or something, so she understands.
Yeah. She was a big help.
Yeah. So the goal was ultimately you got it under contract for
410.
Okay, listed 469. They ultimately accepted 410, and now you've seen the property already. But I sent somebody over to look at it with you, and the question was, do we rehab it, or do we do lipstick on a pig? Now, first I have to say that Arthur didn't have the money to pay $410,000 for the property and rehab it besides. So typically what I would do is finance the property, and especially if it was a wholesale deal, I'd just do transactional funding. However, when Arthur called me about it, I said to him, my cash flows are such that I can't do that. I may be able to. Don't worry about it, just move forward. He has a personal friend that is a private money lender.
Yes.
And I said, I didn't know that. Approach her. We want to get the deal done. So he did, and I started getting emails with novels about why she didn't want a loan on the property because of all the problems. Well, in her eyes, the problem was a mountain. In our eyes, it's a molehill or less, and that's the way it worked out. So ultimately, she came up with 8.5% simple interest, paid monthly, no points, and wonderful. Except that 8.5% paid monthly is a chunk of change.
Yes.
Okay. So I went back, had Arthur go back and say, look, we'll give you 9.5% paid at closing. And her first thought was, will it close within a year? We said, don't worry about it. So ultimately I said to her personally, stop with all the questions. I'll guarantee the loan. I don't care. I've seen the house. We knew what was going on with it. And there were simple fixes. For example, the floor tiles had hairline cracks.
Yes.
And you could have pulled all the tiles out, put in new tiles, and how many square feet was downstairs? A couple thousand.
Yeah.
So you're talking about chunks of change. What we did is the fellow that I sent over, Rob, showed you how to fix the the hairline cracks when they were perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you put a new shower head on and so on and so forth. And ultimately, with even the cost of money involved, you had about 15 in it.
Yeah, a little bit more with, we did appliances over.
Oh, that's right, yeah. One of the things that he did was he said to me, I want to replace the appliances. We call this lipstick on a pig, the little bit of work we did on the house. And typically we don't do that in it. But he said to me, all the other houses, there's a couple other ones in here that are competing with us, they have new appliances. So I said, let's do it. Let's do the new appliances. And that probably was a sales feature that pushed it over.
Brand new appliances.
They're beautiful.
Landscaping, all done. So
lipstick on a pig. So you got it under contract. Originally they offered $500.
The first offer.
Yeah, but you wound up getting it under contract at $517,500.
Yes, I mean we almost had a contract right away at $520, but they contingent on them selling their house.
Oh yeah.
So
very important. If you're going to get a contract from somebody on the contingency that they sell their house first, get another contract, because what happens? First of all, you're carrying it and paying interest on the money. What happens if they don't sell their house? That boom, you're stuck. So we bypassed them.
Yes.
And the second one you had?
Yeah, I mean we only had it on the market a few weeks, and I got an offer for $500.
Yeah. But he wanted a commission.
Yes, he's an agent buying it for himself. So it was one of his first deals, so he really wanted to still keep the commission. And we tried to take it out so that this way we could offer it a little bit cheaper, but he would have rather paid his broker or something to have a deal, because he's a new agent. So he ended up coming up to $517,500 with the commission, his commission.
So here's what sometimes we say. Common sense would dictate that if you're going to buy the house, you want to pay the lowest possible price. Is that you?
Sorry.
That's all right. Which does not include getting a commission for yourself that you have to pay taxes on. However, the bottom line is you don't fight with people like that are cash buyers. If that's what they want to do, leave the buyer do what he wants to do. It doesn't matter. So we accepted his cash offer. We actually close in about 5 or 6 days. So the bottom line is you're going to net about $60,000 to $63,000 on your second deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the lesson here?
I mean, it happens. It does. It's work to get them, but you keep putting the deals in. They do happen. I mean, as much as some people there's no way that offer can be accepted. They do come back, but you got to be consistent with the follow-up.
Yeah, and if they don't come back and your offer is ridiculously low, which it should be, don't worry about it. You can't compete price-wise. if you get caught up in competing price-wise, you're never going to be able to resell the property. And your rehab cost on it's going to be that much higher. So, good job. And I say good job because he did a lot of the patch and paint kind of work. He had a handyman for about $20 an hour who did the kind of different work.
Yeah, he did just about like a lot of stuff.
No, you don't have to admit that. That's all right. But Arthur was on top of it. When I said to him, please do this, he would do that. Now, I do have to say, and before I go, I did yell at Arthur. And I don't do that very often, frankly. I got to a tipping point, and the reason was Arthur's the kind of guy that will say to me, what if? And if I answer it, he'll say, what if? And that sort of drives me crazy. And the response is, I'm trying to learn. But you don't learn by going through all the scenarios of how do you get to the moon. You go through, just do it, and let's see what happens. And then something happens, we make a knee-jerk reaction, fix it, and we move on. Because what can happen is your analysis becomes paralysis for you. And you're always concerned about, this is why a lot of students never get started, or a lot of investors. Concerned about things that never will happen. If they do happen, it doesn't make any difference. So you caught me at the right moment. I say this all the time. 40% of my day is spent arguing with students or going through what-if scenarios that never happen. And it frustrates me. Because the only way you're going to learn is to fail forward, and it's not so hard, is it?
No.
Okay.
I forgive you.
I did apologize, by the way, right?
That you did.
Okay. Thanks, Arthur.